4 minutes after 9. Top Talkers time. Our panel is here. Carson is here from Bob FM. Good morning.
Good morning, Kurt.
Good to see you. Leanne Cusack from CTV News and Noon.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. You?
Trish Owens is here from Magic 100 in the morning. So, surprise, surprise. The name is announced for a basketball team called the Tomahawks, and almost immediately rescinded, taken back.
Yep.
They're not going with this name because of the public outcry. Your take?
What?
It's a touchy subject.
We were just talking about this off air.
Well, you know what? It's very difficult. Already this morning, there are people calling us names because of the way we reported on the story, and I'm really not clear as to what kind of bullying that is, but it's the same thing.
It can be viewed as a politically incorrect name, right? And so there is a little controversy.
I'm wondering how, though. I've asked the question, and I've not really received an answer.
Maybe because of the, I don't know, the negative images it conjures up.
Does it conjure up negative images to you?
I think it comes down to a cultural appropriation, really what it comes down to. And I think that those kind of things are technically and typically thought of as being offsides because they belong to a certain group of people. And if I belong to that certain group of people, I would have an issue with it as well. Now, I'm trying to play the...
But there are others,
when the name came out,
Aboriginals who have written to us this morning and called us. I mean, there's a guy who called me this morning, and he's of Dutch descent, and he brought this up. What about the term going Dutch? Seems to indicate that all Dutch people are cheap.
Yeah, or Scottish people being a little frugal with their money as well. You know?
Right. So, I mean, where do you draw the line, and what's offensive and what's not? How do we know anymore?
You have to run it through the modern day filter, okay? I think because we're automatically in touch with people immediately because of Facebook and Twitter and everything, it gives people a much bigger voice on things that annoy them. Or in this case, I think if they were trying to get attention from the basketball team, then it worked.
I don't think that was the mission.
But in anything, and we know being in the media, there's no such thing as bad press as long as they spell your name right. Now, the name in this case, I think they're trying to throw you off with a capital T and a capital H in the middle. And yeah, people will say Tomahawk is a slam in basketball or a Tomahawk missile, you know, on an aircraft. But I think in this case, if they had a second name, that they were, just in case this was going to happen, then they should have just went with a second name.
So you don't think that they did their research then? I mean, couldn't they have predicted that this
if they did their research, they would have known. They would have known that people would have a problem with this.
It's a little sensitive.
Very sensitive. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much research they did, but if it amounted to asking an Aboriginal friend of theirs if this was offensive, then they didn't do their homework.
Their due diligence,
but
right?
What's...
Until yesterday, I had no idea that was a basketball term.
Did really? Really?
And me too.
Did not.
Me too.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're looking for a name, and you're looking for a name that kind of, I was looking at the term, what is another word for tomahawk?
Right.
Hatchet. And what is Ottawa all about? It was founded on, you know, lumber. So that was an option, and then I looked it up, and apparently hatchet man is also a term in basketball. For me, it's just so rare to be asked anything about sports.
Yeah,
but
this isn't about sports.
Not about sports.
No.
But you know, I think what the hot button is on this, and what the issue is that this is just sort of that little grain of sand in an overall many layers of hurt that need to be addressed. So I think that the First Nations people, if you ask many, say this is like really small potatoes. We need to focus on broader issues and more sensitivity overall. I don't think it's necessarily on this. But you know, look at the other names of the teams. The Moncton Miracles, that's pretty happy and gentle. The Halifax Rain Men, you know, nice little double entendre there.
Well, also, I mean, this is the same league that had a team called the Quebec Kebs, and their logo was a frog. And being from Quebec and being of French descent myself, you know, they were kind of like, well, that's kind of bizarre that they would, you know, I think in general, naming a team, and we're finding out, naming a team isn't as easy as it seems. And I'm wearing a shirt like a sweater that's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I'm part Irish as well. I don't like to fight, but I like to drink. But you can't have a team called the Drinking Irishmen because that would be considered.
But you can have a team called the Fighting Irish.
I wish that there was a comfortable way to get through this. I think that no matter what is said here, or what is said by Gus and his team over the Ottawa Professional Basketball League, it's one of those instances that we don't have an answer for it. But the good thing about what it is that we do is that we're able to live in a society where we can have a debate about this. Instead of it, no, I don't like it. Why?
Because I don't like it.
Well, that's not good enough.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Why can't the debate be clean? Why can't
You're
there
right.
be?
It's a great
You're right.
point.
It's
Yep.
true.
Because
is
it's
great.
People get
just as
nasty.
bad
Yeah.
to go like okay, let's assume you think the name Tomahawk is racist and is not appropriate for a basketball team. Okay, all I want to know is why you think that. That's
And
all I
let's
want to know.
not attack
I don't
each
need to
other
be.
because
I
we
don't
have
need to be
different
called
opinions.
names.
Right.
Which
We got enough stuff to call you names about.
well,
so
exactly.
we don't have to worry about this kind
I
of
mean,
stuff. yeah.
Cubby calls me names every day. I don't
the
mind
time.
that at all. I'm used to that.
Sweet
But
pea,
anyway, I think
lollipop.
Pillow talk.
people's opinions are valuable in this. We're just trying to find a way to figure out why this could be offensive or why would it be. And, you know, if someone would like to explain it, I'd be more than happy to listen, because nobody wanted to offend anyone in this case.
And this was probably one of the only topic that before we got on, we were like, how are we going to talk about this? Because you make one wrong step, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, there's 4 Caucasians talking about something that they don't understand.
Right.
And all I think really what we want is we want to understand why. We just want to know.
That's all.
I think it's all right to have a debate about it. No one's rushing out to buy Ottawa Tomahawk jerseys just yet. So I think.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Cub, but think about how many phrases and terms from our childhoods that, you know, were so commonplace.
Yeah, I know.
That are so completely inappropriate now.
Yeah.
And there is more growth and sensitivity.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's room for this. There's room for the discussion.
There's a lot of people, too, that come from Newfoundland that don't like to be called Newfies either.
Talk about people who, you know, take a ribbing here and there. I don't mind being called a noof. Go ahead.
That's a good time.
Anyway,
It's a fun time, man.
Yeah.
Some of the best
We
times
got
I've
the
ever
best
had with
jokes.
Newfoundland
I just
people.
have a little question.
people.
This is called table talk, but you said something about pillow talk.
Uh,
We're
we
not
don't have time
changing
for
the
that this
segment,
morning.
are
We
we?
don't
Are
have
we
time. No.
changing the
That's all the
segment?
time
I
we
just
got
need to
apparently
know,
from Ryan.
'cause I'll wear my flannel pajamas for the
doing
next
the wrap-up.
segment. And
We
Ryan's
really
doing
have
the
to
wrap.
go.
Ryan's
Oh, we
been
do,
feisty
yes,
about
yeah, we
this.
do.
Yeah.
I take no offense to your flannel pajamas.
You haven't
Why
11 minutes
flannel? What's
after
wrong with
9.
cotton?
We'll be right back.